Alright, welcome back to another video and another story. Today, we're recapping an anime. I'll drop the name in the description, so let's jump right in. Natsu Takahashi, a biology teacher, suddenly finds himself in a world where only a few people are demi-humans. When he learns that the new math teacher, Seki Sato, is actually a succubus, things get complicated fast. Seki's always trying to keep her powers in check around him, which isn't easy. Hikari, one of Takahashi's students and a vampire, asks him for help walking her friend Kyoko Machi, a Dullahan without a head, to the nurse's office. The next day, Takahashi meets Hikari's human twin sister, Himari, and hangs out with Hikari to learn more about real-life vampires. Later, Hikari befriends Kyoko, who's been keeping her demi-human side to herself for ages. Hikari suggests that Kyoko write a thank you note to Takahashi for all his help and tells her that she can always talk to him if she needs advice. When Takahashi chats with Kyoko, he tries to understand how she copes with being a Dullahan and how she connects with others. Kyoko, after a lot of thought, asks him for a pretty unusual favor. She wants him to hold her head. Later, Hikari sets up a pretend date for Kyoko and Takahashi. Takahashi takes Kyoko's head with him, while Hikari keeps her body nearby. During their time together, Kyoko shares her concerns about one of their classmates, Yuki Kusaka, who's a snow woman. Based on what he's learned, Takahashi suggests to the school principal that Kyoko should use a backpack instead of a regular bag to make carrying her head easier. This suggestion doesn't go unnoticed by Seki. Seki, meanwhile, is trying to keep the guys from falling for her natural charm, but starts catching feelings for Takahashi herself, thinking he's immune to her powers. At the same time, Takahashi talks with Hikari about the connection between vampires and romantic relationships to get a better understanding. Kyoko also confides in Seki about her own crush on Takahashi, and even though Seki doesn't have much dating experience, she tries to give Kyoko some love advice. One day, Yuki overhears a few girls talking behind her back, accusing her of being arrogant, which really upsets and agitates her. These upsetting rumors lead Yuki to seek help from Takahashi. Yuki's concern is that, because of her demi-status, she might be judged and gossiped about. Takahashi goes to Seki for guidance, and Seki believes that Yuki's personal issues are tied to her demi-nature. When Hikari hears about this, she bravely decides to confront those girls directly and deal with their nasty gossip. Later, Takahashi and Himari head back home, but Himari is still doubtful about him. However, her view changes when Takahashi explains that to understand demis, you need to recognize their human side and the struggles they face as half-humans. Yuki shares an old story with Takahashi. Once, while she was in the bath, ice particles formed in the water, making her worry that her snow woman abilities might harm others. To find a solution, Takahashi researches various legends and devises a plan. He suggests Yuki place her foot in warm water and focus on the dark legends of snow women. Just then, the ice particles start forming again, leading Takahashi to conclude that her power source is actually her frozen sweat, triggered by her emotional stress. This discovery brings Yuki great relief as she realizes her powers don't inherently harm anyone, which helps her trust herself and her abilities more. Afterward, Yuki spends more time with Hikari and Kyoko, which makes their friendship feel more natural. Takahashi receives an invitation to visit family's home, where he talks to Hikari and Himari's father while watching the usual banter and arguments between the sisters. The next day, Himari scolds Hikari for not being able to fix her hair. At this point, Takahashi suggests that maybe, because she's a vampire, Hikari can't see her reflection in the mirror. This comment brings a sense of guilt in Himari for her behavior, but she later realizes that the myth about vampires and mirrors isn't true at all. Later, Kyoko finds herself in the biology lab where Takahashi appears to be sleeping, unaware that he's actually awake and aware of everything. Seki encounters a boy named Kores, who turns out to be a police detective working for Seki's old friend Yugaki. When Seki shows curiosity about Takahashi, Yugaki hints that Takahashi is really affected by Seki's stimulant drug, even if he tries to deny his feelings for her. Meanwhile, Kores scolds a few male students for taking pictures of Seki. At the same time, Takahashi talks to Yugaki about his experience in the demi section, particularly mentioning events with the succubi. Yuki tries to hide her interest in classic comedy manga, but one of her books falls out of her hands, and Seki spots it. Hikari, surprised by Kyoko's intelligence, asks her to help with studies to impress Takahashi. In the end, Hikari starts a cute little contest, asking everyone to choose which of her hands they'd like her to bite. Yugaki encourages Seki to approach Takahashi and use her charm, but Seki suddenly gets intrigued by Takahashi's theory about true love with a succubus, catching her off guard. Yuki decides to ask Takahashi for help to master her snow woman powers and handle the summer heat. After a hot and exhausting physical education class, Kyoko thinks of telling a scary story to cool the group down. When Hikari talks about a kiss she got from Takahashi on her cheek. Not wanting to be outdone by Hikari, Kyoko decides she'll go for a kiss from Takahashi herself. But as she approaches, Takahashi stops her and warns her not to get too close. To apologize and share more research on demis, Kyoko joins Takahashi to visit his old university, where she meets Takahashi's friend Soma. Soma has this strange theory that Kyoko's neck acts like a gateway, connecting her head to another dimension. Kyoko, intrigued by Soma's ideas on the space-time potential of Dullahan's, becomes eager to learn more. Meanwhile, Takahashi is looking for ways to help Hikari and Yuki cope with the summer heat. But the vice principal warns him about dedicating all his time and attention to the demi students who have come to rely on his support. Following this, a few regular students, including some who previously bullied Yuki, privately discuss how they can build better relationships with their demi-human classmates. They feel Takahashi has become a bit distant due to this situation. So, the girls decide to send him a video, thanking him for his support, with Hikari also expressing her gratitude personally. The next day, the vice principal reevaluates his stance, noticing the positive impact of Takahashi's efforts on both demi-human and human students alike. Even though Takahashi has concerns about Hikari's tolerance to sunlight, he allows her and the group to rent an open pool and invites Seki too. While the girls are enjoying their time, Seki gathers the courage to make a request to Takahashi. Kyoko joins in on a discussion about Dullahan legends, eventually going underwater with her head for the first time. Hikari explains that her goal was never to make everyone go out of their way for her, but for them all to have fun. Over summer break, Takahashi invites Seki to join him on patrol duty for the neighborhood's summer festival, attended by other demis, as well as Hikari and her friends. Both groups decide to visit a nearby shrine, only to find themselves spooked by strange happenings, realizing later they scared themselves. With the new term beginning, Takahashi ends up talking to an invisible girl named Mutsumi. And with this scene, my summary of the anime comes to an end. Thanks for sticking around. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Catch you in the next video. Bye-bye.